and that was a challenge with the technology. Hopefully, AI is going to save the world with flawless operations.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm just taking a look and making sure we are live because yes, we are. We are live.
I see a
Okay, so
timer
I
on the
think
platform,
I
and
think
it's
we
just
missed.
going out. I haven't seen it though.
Yeah, we're live now, but we did have a little bit of a delay. So what's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Crypto Weekly Review live stream. We are reaching an accumulation phase. I hope you brought your rolling papers and a lighter because we're going to do some hopium today and pass it around, okay? Also, before we get started, let's DCA into the like button. All right, boys? And right now, I just want to introduce you to my good friend, FundingGym, man. How are you doing?
Things are going great. This is exciting times. I had a stream earlier today, and it was mostly about like looking at what to do with a life. Like, what is an example of a good template of a future. And we obsess about cryptocurrency, about self-improvement, about like the technology stuff. I mean, I know you're doing it, I'm doing it,
Mhm.
and it gives us something, to strive for, some kind of goal. And yeah, that was kind of the topic this morning. But now I'm excited to talk about finance and the things you've dug up, whether it's the Fed and FOMC week, like you commented,
Mhm.
or action things that are actionable. This stream with you, I love when it's actionable.
Yeah, and it is almost time for some serious action. I mean, there's going to be some serious action, all right, when we have the FOMC meeting on Wednesday. Traders are already now taking profits from this amazing 43% rally in Bitcoin since the beginning of the year. You know, when I made that stream, like one of the first streams of the year, I said I think we could pump into the FOMC. I had no idea. I had no idea that it was going to be 43%. Like that caught me off guard. But speaking of action, let's jump into a screen share over here and we can jump into the charts really quick and see what the heck is going on. So here we go. We have Bitcoin. Let's take a look at it on the monthly chart. The month is about to close on Bitcoin, and we are still in this. I've been calling it the Bermuda Triangle. Okay. So this is decision time. We have bounced off of this parabola, this historic Bitcoin parabola that includes Cozy 19 and includes the previous bear market. We are still inside it, and we are rejecting the 55 EMA. Okay. So this is a critical point of resistance, not only on the charts, but we also have the FOMC week after a monster rally. It's looking like this thing is going to correct a little bit. And if you were to ask me to where, I would say about right here to the FTX dump. All right. So let's take a look on the weekly chart. You can see it better. You see that we poked through out of the Bermuda Triangle. We poked through. The bulls were kicking butt on bearish divergence, but pumping nonetheless. So I think we could come back down here probably to 21K to this line right here, the 200 exponential moving average, like about 21,254. I can see us rolling over by Wednesday to then. Okay. Also, if we take a look at the weekly chart, we do have something interesting to take a look at here. On the weekly chart, we do have what could be the first weekly death cross in Bitcoin's history. If we follow this yellow line, this 200 EMA, it has never crossed this purple line since it was beginning. And the 200 EMA was the bottom of the previous bear market. So this is very, very, very critical and important. Now, if we stay up here, if we consolidate and pop through and go on into the accumulation phase in Bitcoin, it might not cross. You can see that they are getting flat right here. Okay. And now we've had a 4 weeks of green candles, and we haven't really done that since back here in August of 2021. So this is a significant, massive pump, right? So going back on the daily chart really quick, you can see here we do have the little baby golden cross, which signals a prolonged uptrend right here happening. But this purple line has not crossed yet. That is the actual golden cross that's projected to cross in February. Okay. So the other thing to note on this chart is we've been making this move on bearish divergence. I mean, the RSI is going down and the price is going up. It's showing that the market is toppy. It's showing that we're making these moves on lower relative strength. And signaling that a correction is due. We're at this parabola trend line. We're at bearish divergence. We're going into the FOMC. I think that a correction is coming. And when it does come, I am going to start accumulating for the next bull market. And I have a chart for you right here. This is actually really incredible. One of the coolest ones I've seen in a while. I didn't make it, but this is the November 28th cycle theory, right? You can see these letter numbers right here: red, orange, green, and blue. We have an ath year on one, and about November 28th to 2013. By the way, shout out to the Crypto Cowboys. You guys in Germany should really be able to remember this, because I believe like on the 9th of November, you have a big holiday. So yeah, every 28th, we have a major move in this cyclical pattern. As you know, Bitcoin is on a 4-year cycle, and it's done it a number of times. So there's been a bit of a groove, a little bit of a groove to where all the exponential moving averages are very easy to read in the macro. So let's take a closer look. You can see right here in 2018, November, or in 2014, November 28th, we had entered green, the accumulation phase. Shortly after that, and then right here, November 28th, 2016, we entered the preparation phase. And then November 28th, 2017, we had ath. And then it restarts again. It goes yellow, bear market, right? And then November 28th was the bottom of the last bear market. And you can see that as this represented by this green dot. Then we go into accumulation, then preparation. And then as you can see, very close to November 28, 2021, you can see we had ath again. All right. And what we've been through together since this channel began has been the bear market, right? It's been an absolute bloodbath. It's been painful, but hey, at least we laughed and trolled our way through it. But now take a look a little bit early. We have bottomed, or appear to have bottomed, according to this trend. Remember, the trend is your friend. Trust the tape, right? So according to this trend, I mean, we are already probably seeing the lows. Like, it can come down and cool off quite hard and be volatile and wrecked a lot of people. But it looks like we have probably already bottomed. And it's a shame, because we were shooting for that, like we were shooting for the 14K range, which we got scammed by 2,000. So that sucks. Okay. But yeah, you can see this is the accumulation phase. So 2023 is going to be accumulation. That's why I'm not FOMOing. I'm not going crazy. I'm doing coin research. I'm trying to figure out what the best plan is. And that keeps happening. What the best plan is for 2023. I don't think we have to go crazy and like start FOMOing and buying the top of one of the biggest Bitcoin rallies, in monthly rallies in history of Bitcoin, to buy the top of that. I don't think that's the greatest idea. This thing could still go crazy and volatile. And yes, it can still make a new low, but this theory looks pretty spot on so far. So 2024, the year of the halving, you can see right here that this should be the preparation. So just because we're accumulating doesn't mean we're not going to go up. You can see this last green year and the blue year, we were going up very nicely. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities. I think there's going to be a lot of moonshots, and that's what we're going to be looking for. We're not just going to sit here with a thumb up our butt. We're looking for the moonshot, next project, next big hype, the AI thing. We are finding it. We're looking for it. We'll talk more about it here in a little bit. But I just wanted to show you guys this chart. It's very, very interesting. And I believe that if you want to start accumulating your favorite cryptocurrencies, remember, we look at Bitcoin just to know what we want to do with our altcoins. Because, if Bitcoin's in a bull market, the tide's going to lift all boats, right? So try to figure out, we're going to figure out which coins and things like that, because I believe that there's going to be some crazy like 50x, 20x gems before ath, So we're on the prowl. We're on the hunt. I'm making moves in the background. But yeah, guys, I think we're in an accumulation phase. However, I do believe this is going to correct just a little bit. So I recommend, what I'm doing is, can't make you a recommendation, but what I'm doing is just slowly accumulating. So FundingGym, what do you think about all this stuff? Is this another meme? Is this like a plan B type of meme? It's like November 28th cycle theory. Is this silly, or are these data points accurate?
Well, it's interesting because people look at charts, and because they look at charts, other people look at charts to see what they're looking at. And then when enough people are doing that, then the price moves, because they say, look, the chart is pointing toward this formation, and this formation is bullish, or the chart is showing that in previous cycle in similar environment, this is what played out and this is what happened, right? So enough people looking at the same data points impacts the price and the popularity and the commentary, right?
Yeah.
So you have this narrative around the Bitcoin halving every 4 years or so. And 6 months before or so of the halving, you start to see price climb. Why is that? Is that because it is a pumpamental built into the code? Or is it because enough people have heard that they act on it and they want to front run? Or they want to sell the news once the event happens and you see a big price dip, right? So these cycle theories, they make sense. That I've heard them for decades outside of cryptocurrency, inside of real estate, like what asset class is moving up might be real estate at one time and then stocks on its different cycle, or gold and silver. They've had these wealth cycle commentary for a long time. Someone that makes a lot of content about that is Mike Maloney. He talks about silver and gold for decades. So like, I understand what you're saying about the November 28th cycle theory. And if enough people hear that as a reason for something to happen, then that something tends to happen.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, when you look at charts, you have actually invested a lot of time and money into understanding patterns that are presented on charts, and who is making that instruction or that coursework and saying this is what's happened. It's other people that have shown success, whether it's Ray Dalio or Buffett or anybody else. You might say, hey, they've got a lot of wealth. How did they do it? Well, they paid attention to market cycles. And when they paid attention to market cycles, if they have publicized their thesis on what compels them to make a decision, then other people do the same thing, because we're social animals, right? We see what has worked out for the guy that it has prospered and try to ignore the guy that's wrecked. So if enough people look at the same data, I will agree. Yeah.
Yeah, so taking a look at the Fed rate monitor tool. Okay, so we have a rate hike coming up on Wednesday. Okay, we have a big FOMC meeting. Is it crazy that I pretty much called that we're going to pump into the FOMC and then dump? And that's literally what's happening right now. I mean, like, Bitcoin is correcting. It's below 23K. I'm projecting that it's going to dump all the way into the FOMC. Now, everybody is expecting a 25 basis point rate hike right now. Inflation is slowing down. They're fudging the numbers, taking only 1 year of CPI data so that the CPI looks cooler, so they don't have to raise as much. What they want to do is what the Fed has to do to get inflation under control is the Fed funds rate has to be higher than the CPI. Otherwise, inflation is still going. So I'm projecting November the 11th, when we have our new CPI data released, the new fudged numbers data. I believe that it's going to be like in the 5%, and our target, their terminal rate, their target is about 5.2% Fed funds. So, I mean, I think if they can fudge the numbers and get it to like 5.1% by like, say, March, then I think they're going to pause sometime in March, which is going to cause a massive rally if we don't break something. If we do break something and we get a massive dump, then we're going to get another big buying opportunity. I'm going to be buying that dump. If something in the economy breaks, layoffs are going through the roof. It's crazy right now. And, these tech companies are not profitable. We got earnings coming out. They're looking poor, except Tesla did. So, like, all of this is a perfect storm for us to have some massive volatility in the next couple months to the downside. But I think February is going to be a good month. I think February is going to be a good month because of the cool CPI data. So I think this FUD is going to get us down. I plan on just buying a little bit, and then riding it into the new upgraded CPI numbers, FOMO. And we'll see, though. But at the end of the day, the problem is that the economy is run on cheap debt. Like, if you won $1 million in 1965 and you put it in the bank and didn't touch it, that would be worth about $140,000 right now. Inflate, and we're going to lose the battle, eventually, to inflation. But and the United States banking system and debt markets cannot handle over 5% interest rates. They really cannot. We're over leveraged, $31.5 trillion in debt. I just don't see it. So something could absolutely break. I could see us pumping through February, and then something actually breaks that causes the Fed to pivot and start cutting rates again. And that'll be your another great opportunity to buy your favorite coins, your favorite alts, things like that, because we know that we are in this accumulation phase right now. We are in 3 right here. So when we get these major big pullbacks, we rode hard through this bear market and didn't buy a thing on this channel, well, like ever since I called the top 65K, missed the bottom by 2K, So now I'm just saying it's time to accumulate. So like squirrel away money, it's being devalued anyway. Squirrel away money and start putting it into your favorite stuff, and have a lot of as much liquid USDC as you can to snap up some gems, And we'll take a look at some of great gems later, and maybe talk a little bit about some PulseChain problems or projects as well. So it's going to be great, guys. Things is going up and up. How's that for hopium? Things are going up and up now. Yes, I believe we're going to probably break something this year, and the Fed will have to pivot. Remember, every time the Fed has pivoted and it's cut rates, it's because we had a major economic event. Now, today, the Texas Federal Reserve came out and said that expect a recession this year, right? Now, just because we're expecting a recession doesn't mean that it's going to be a financial crisis like GFC, like the great financial crisis, But we are expecting something to break this year. They're going to keep raising rates until they break, even something breaks. So that is going to be your next opportunity. So, kind of make sure that you have some money, like I think around like March during that FOMC meeting or April, like in the spring. I think we're going to have a major economic event. The Fed is going to have to pivot. We're going to lose our fight to inflation. Assets are going to continue to go up in price. And we're going to have another wave of inflation before this whole thing is over. That's what I think. I don't know, man. What do you think? What's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen with the FOMC and like your outlook for 2023?
It's interesting. I think it's kind of like you make up for bad behavior through your own decisions to be productive or to be efficient with your own capital and your own, which capital is your time, it's your influence, it's dollars or euros. It's things that are raw materials that you can convert into finished goods. Like in some ways, like you had said something about in 1965, if you had $1 million and you just sat on top of it, it has the purchasing power now of around 100 something thousand. I think you said.
Yes.
Yep. That's true, and it's provable through inflation. However, I'm going to take the devil's advocate side, and I'm not saying that they do this on purpose, but it is kind of the outcome. The top 1%, the top 5% of people that have purchasing power, how do they have it? Well, they have it because either their design of new, in my opinion, new innovative products to deliver more efficiently services and goods to people is how most people have become billionaires. And again, my bias. So if you're in the technology sector and you have 20,000 employees working at Twitter, and you say, hey, we're delivering this service, and this service has a revenue model of advertising. And by the way, we can run that at 25% of the labor cost if we're just more efficient with our technology or with the structure of our servers, things like that, right? So a lot of technology company founders, developers, and the first 2 to 5 years of a company that exists have become phenomenally wealthy, right? And they become wealthy because they designed the new Snapchat. Why do they do that? Yes, it's profit motive, but also because innovation and invention, if it delivers a service or good that is product market fit, will outpace the loss of purchasing power that inflation has or malinvestment from government. So government doesn't actually build anything. Its only real function is to spend money. That's its only function. And where does it get that? If it doesn't, if it taxes people, you might have a ledger and say, look, this is where the money came from. But government in a lot of ways has given up on the idea of taxing people. There are still taxes, don't get me wrong, but the hidden tax is inflation. And if you can print money into oblivion, it actually makes people either, it's kind of Darwinian. You either are going to be more productive and more efficient and more creative in order for you to have yield on your time that outpaces inflation. Like that's why I love this community in general, is a lot of us are very productive people, and we have not just one income stream, but 7 or 8. You know, a lot of us focus on build something that can run in the background while we're doing something else that can run in the background to generate income and outpace inflation decay.
Yeah, and the crazy thing, you were just talking about Twitter and innovation and things like that. You know, I really see cryptocurrency being adopted everywhere. Elon Musk just filed for licenses to make Twitter be able to transmit money. Of course, it's focused mainly on fiat, but they do have some stuff in the bottom of there that is making room for cryptocurrency, which like makes Doge is going to go crazy. You know, so that's why Doge is one of my picks for blue chips. You know, for diversification purposes and stuff like that. And with AI and how it's going to make people more productive and efficient and stuff, I know what you're saying. You're saying like as technology increases, more wealth is created. That's why the government is trying to spend more to prevent deflation, right? So I've kind of heard that theory before as well. Yeah, I can see that we need another big technical revolution
Yes.
to get us out of here. So that's the great thing. Like you made such a great point. How do we get out of this situation? Like there's the whole thing can collapse and we're going to do a CBDC, you know, and then it's going to be tomorrow world and it's going to be the end of the world. You know, it's going to be whatever, you know, so, or the other way is to innovate out, because that's what we've always done, you know, through like the internet, the .com bubbles, the social media bubbles, you know, with the Web3 bubble, you know, and I think AI is going to be that next big bubble that's going to be able to innovate our way out to be more productive. Because of course, the only thing that stops inflation is more goods and services, which comes from productivity, right?
Yes. Yeah, I
So,
mean, the farmers are the first savings accounts of humanity. You know, when you were a hunter gatherer and you went out and you picked something off of the tree or bush, you killed an animal, you brought it back to the tribe, and everybody ate. Okay, great. But now you got to do it again, and you go forage, maybe even a longer distance or new hunting grounds and things like that. So it's not very efficient to be hunter gatherers. But one of the first innovations or inventions was to say, hey, let's regularly pour some water on these seeds in our own backyard behind the tribal hut, right?
mhm,
And so you are becoming more efficient in your calorie gathering. Same thing with domesticating animals and things like that, to be livestock or to be serve different purposes of canines and things like that. Like these are just tools that we have been doing for hundreds of thousands of years to be more efficient. And right now, with these things like artificial intelligence and things like that, that are really becoming consumer grade. They're no longer hidden inside of university or behind government firewalls. Now you actually have tools in your hand that you didn't have to be the smartest kid in geometry and the smartest kid in some kind of academia setting to use the tool. And the tool right
mhm,
now, again, the first things might be the creative expression and imagery or something like that, with all the AI stuff with imagery. Or, you know, how do I write a book for other people to pay for and basically consume content, right? So
mhm.
that's like the lowest hanging fruit. But the world is really your oyster when it comes to, if you have an internet connection and effectively at least a smartphone, you can dominate financially, because so many people just have been trained for all their life to be consumers
Mhm,
instead of producers. And the producers, however they produce, whether it's one person using technology to do the work of 10 people by being efficient through technology, low cost technology, or whether it's what historically has happened is, you know, gather together a lot of people with a common cause and say, let's put a rocket on the moon. Like
mhm.
you can put together 100,000 engineers and a national purpose and get to the moon, but you could probably do that a lot easier as a few hundred people with the same cause now,
Yeah,
technology.
absolutely. So we got some hexkins and we got some pulsakins in the chat. So I know you've been working a lot with PulseChain Media, and do you see anything exciting coming up? Do you see
Yeah, I'm
anything
hosting these spaces
like
Wednesdays
as
and
far as
Saturdays.
project? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm hosting these spaces Wednesdays and Saturdays. And basically, it is one of those things that you've talked about for the past year is kind of you can be a hexagon, but if you're on the outside and you're not really towing exact verbatim everything that Richard says or kind of the most influential people say, you can get ostracized, right? You can be unwelcomed, so to speak. And it is difficult to walk that political line. However, with my other channels, which is PulseChain Media, this is basically to engage the people that are making their pitches. And they might
Mm-hmm.
be making a pitch such as you've already heard of things like liquid loans, which would
Yes.
be an algorithm, basically a smart contract to have this thesis that you would never have to sell the PLS L1 coin, that you could instead create a stable coin and trade that for dollars or into other cryptos and always kind of have a hedged position or a short, what's it called? Set your stops, like your stop loss.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mechanism as far as that goes. And in the past few days, a different team, which is Power City, is saying that they're going to use the same or very similar code to create that same functionality around the PLS token, which is related to the yield that the DEX of PulseX would generate.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of interesting things as far as the pitch of the kind of the bigger products or projects that are trying to launch when PulseChain goes live, and that's exciting. But there's also 81 other Twitter handles that say that they are building something and it's ready to launch or they're in different stages of development that I would like to engage.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm hosting those spaces. And it really is trying to have the co-host and the audience be both founders and developers primarily, so
Mm-hmm.
that they can say, "Hey, I've seen that before, and it used to be called this other thing. And how did that work out, right? Or what are you doing this different?" So a lot of these things like reflection tokens and stuff like that, or hourglass games, they're known processes. They just have a new market, new
Mm-hmm.
marketing, and a new pool of people to buy into them until they usually evaporate.
Yeah.
So I want to caution people, but I also want to engage people, and it's a fine line to walk with that channel.
Yeah. It's definitely hard because if you are a Richard Hart maximalist, that means you only mess with hex. But Richard Hart is also building a layer one. So the only way this layer one is going to survive, and the only way that you're going to be able to interact with hex cheap with your P hex with your pulse chain hex is if pulse chain survives, you know? So like these projects are very necessary for the whole ecosystem to survive and evolve and stay relevant. You know, Hex came out of DeFi Summer. Hex came out of 2019. You know, there's a lot more complex staking protocols that are being built to keep Hex relevant, to keep Hex going. We need to continue to expand and have things that interoperate with Hex. And I think a lot of these projects that are coming on PulseChain are designed to have something to do with Hex or help to hodl Hex or just prolong the whole ecosystem. That's what I like about it. It's very much a team effort, you know? So also I wanted to ask you this really quick. So I muted HVid, so I have no idea when PulseChain is coming. So can you give us there's a lot of people in the chat, man. Shout out to you guys in the chat. When's PulseChain coming? What do you know? You got an inside scoop, man. You're everybody, you know everybody. What's going on?
It's funny because we have these conversations, and she listens in. She'll listen into this as well, just because you're commenting, I'm commenting, and she's got spidey senses. Um, But in general, like I saw that there was a 10-hour live, whatever, Twitter space the other day hosted by, I think, TA Agent and some others. And they were talking, 10 hours, a lot of content. And a lot of it was
Mhm.
useful. I think out of the 10 hours, there's probably, several hours that was, useful. Some of it was just socializing, but there was about a 7 or 8 minute run of people expressing frustration, uh, and maybe being a little callous about it, about HVID or about Katie, right? And
Mhm.
kind of why is that? Why is this commentary happening? Kind of thing. I don't think that's anything new. I think the fact that it's female versus male, maybe it gets highlighted. It's like, oh, everybody's simping to the female. Well, people simp to Richard too. Like they simp
Yeah.
to OGs also. They simp, right? It's
Mhm.
part of our nature. If one of the reasons that Jack Levin was embraced so strongly early on with Hex was because of his Google numbers, like
Yeah.
his following, right? So we're wired to simp. Like, not an unusual thing. It
So,
just happens to be right now. It's in the female ballpark as far as what people are commenting. But like, does she know? I don't know. I'm
yeah.
not in the conversation. I don't know who she's dealing with. I know that the only thing I'm going to trust is when Richard says, "Here we go. Like,
Yeah.
get ready. This is the day. I'm ready to load and fire." Right. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I care about. In the meantime, I think it is better to spend time figuring out some of these newly available tools to help us with our SEO, with our viewership, with our not just hype cycle, but
Mhm.
basically to deliver better value more efficiently with less time. So, like when you do your shorter produced content, that takes like 7 or 8 hours for you to gather
Yeah.
and edit and throw up there voluntarily, right? You're not
Mhm.
sponsored. You don't have ref links and things like that to central exchanges, right? Even
Do
when
it
you
for the
get
wolf pack.
donations,
Yeah.
it's yeah. Even when you get donations, it's a rare thing, but like we do this out of passion. But I think we can just be more efficient and have less anxiety and stress over the opportunity cost of producing this stuff for an audience. Like
Mhm.
I think that HVid and others that are tweeting pretty regularly could help more with like the how tos. Like she
Keep.
produces videos. I think she's great about her video stuff that she started doing more recently.
Mhm.
Whether she wants to play the role of being an influencer or not, I don't know. I think she cares about Hex a lot. So I'm not knocking her at all. We have DM messages over the year or something that she's been around for
Yeah.
similar reasons, right? For like, hey, maybe let's wait till we actually have fact instead of getting everyone goaded on that's happening within hours and things like that. You know.
Yeah. And the other thing, this is something that you told me the other day when we were just privately chatting, is that I think PulseChain isn't gonna fall out of the sky and smack you in the head. I think PulseChain, when it starts getting closer, is going to have like a lot of promo from like we'll start hearing from the devs. They're gonna get the okay to start sharing things. Once V3 is, they're going to be doing like little videos and having posts and write-ups explaining things. We really don't have any idea right now. Sorry about that. I got some kind of virus. Streamlabs keeps trying to pop on, but we really don't really have the data on like what exactly all the metrics are going to be. And I think we're going to start getting, once you start seeing that, you might want to start buying Hex. Once you start seeing devs talk, once you start seeing this going on, I'm going to be scooping up some Hex, because when V3 comes out, I believe we are going to have a pump. So let me just do a little bit of TA on Hex. Okay, now I had been bearish on Hex all like the whole bear market, but it's a bear market. I'm bearish in a bear market. Now I'm starting to change my mind. I think the sentiment has hit all-time lows. Somebody mentioned the SEC and stuff like that. All of that is kind of cooling off now. Um, so I'm kind of getting bullish on Hex, and I still think that we could dump. I still think we could take out the lows. Remember, we're in an accumulation phase going into a recession. There might be a black swan that dumps everything, after we get the good news of the CPI, going into April. I think we're going to get another big dump. So you'll have another chance. But if you start seeing PulseChain updates, if you start seeing devs talking or doing interviews, you need to start buying, because I think that Hex could possibly make a run to about 10 cents. That is a very historical area when V3 goes live. I think the only reason that Hex didn't have that insane run up this year in 2023 is because people are fatigued. People are not sure this thing is coming. Even in our own chat here, people are saying, let's face it, this is a scam. Like, I don't think it's a scam. I think it's going to come out. And when it does, I think we could rip, back. You could see the primary pivot right here and the bottom of the descending triangle that I drew from the top, right? Like a year ago, I drew this. I think it could definitely pump through here. I think it could have like a Bitcoin face melting, I don't get what's going on here pump, like unbelief, disbelief pump. So, I mean, I think, you know, that's like an easy 5x. So until I start seeing like regular updates and then like the devs crawling out from under the rock and like start talking, I'm going to front run that PLS right then and there. And if it does go lower, if we dump into the FOMC and it does go lower, that's okay with me, because my view is long term for Hex. You know what I mean? It always has been. I've been here since February of 2020. I've been in Hex since then, and I'm going to continue for 15 years, you know, like until 2035. So I'm looking at it like that. I don't care if it crashes. If it does, that's actually a good scenario for me. You know, in the last 2 weeks, I had so much stakes come out. You know, I sat today and I looked at all my liquid Hex, and I looked at like all of my Hex Richard Hart multiverse holdings, and I'm like, damn, I'm really, really, really heavily invested into this thing. So and I will pick up a little bit more, you know, and I don't think that and I really have no reason to sell or anything like that. But yeah, so I'm looking at you know, about to a 9-cent pump to this right here. Now I did hear Our Dreams did have a comment back here. She said that Richard Hart has been very quiet lately, you know, and that might be a good thing, you know. I don't know what's going on with him, or if he's like looking back at his old twerk videos and is like, I think I'm going to just stay off Twitter for a while, or what's going on, you know. But he has been. In fact, I did take a kind of a peek at some of his Twitter. You can see, I know it's quite small here. Sorry, guys, I can't enhance this, but you can see like his tweeting has gone way, way down. Okay. And his numbers are also going down here, and his YouTube channel as well. It's got a B- total grade, but I just got upgraded. You can see here I'm a C+. So I think I'm going to be on par with Richard Hart's channel very, very soon. So guys, hit the sub button, hit the like button, so I can crank up into my next state, my next B-, and be on par of a channel as Richard Hart. So that sounds good. Yeah, man, what are your price predictions for what Hex is going to do? I forgot. I said I was going to do a little bit of TA. Let's just jump on the daily chart over here. Sorry, guys. You can see we are holding the daily. Well, we haven't really broke the downtrend yet. I was hoping to get above 3 cents right here. Then we could say that we have finally broken out of that downtrend, but this is a lower high, you know, but we did get the 21 exponential moving average. That means it is gaining momentum. Currently, we are rejecting the 89. These charts work, man. You know, like this is crazy how everything works just within these lines. Now, we could definitely see come back down to the point of control at about 2 pennies. I think anywhere from like a penny and a half and 2 pennies is buy. That's what I think. But what do you think about like Hex price, and where the heck is Richard?
Yeah, I think that there's a few things to comment about that. One is, again, it does frustrate me about the amount of PulseChain is just going to go live. There's not going to be a V3. People say that. I'm like, that's crazy. There's not a V1 yet. When there's a V1, which is a new proof of stake, it's not delegated proof of stake. It is Ethereum 2.0. And even with the code and the math that needs to be worked out to make it possible, you know, hexagons for 3, maybe 4 years now have talked about having miners that are effectively generating hex staking. So it's miners without having to have electrical bills, miners without having to have, you know, sysadmin kind of knowledge base of how to run a miner. That's not true anymore when it comes to PulseChain and derivatives. The L1 needs to be supported with hardware, and I haven't seen enough of that kind of content to say PulseChain is around the corner. Even the testnet, they have in the past said, you know, published things like there's 600 nodes running. Well, that's to me, I may be wrong, but I think that the 600 nodes reference is when it was delegated proof of stake. And it was people like David Feeder or you know, Huddle Dog, and they invested into hardware, and they, you know, had enough knowledge to basically accept delegations and be part of that ranking. Now, I haven't seen any of that content really. I did put a link into the private link, and it is to one of the Twitter guys that's just a sysadmin. I don't think he's a developer directly with the PulseChain group, but he's in those rooms and he knows what's necessary for validators to run some hardware. So does Alex from Hedron and others that comment, because it's not required or necessary that you have a data center. It's not required that you have a rack in your house in order to validate and generate potential profitability, especially if you think that SAC price is anywhere other than the top of the price of a PLS token, right?
Mhm.
So if you think that it's going to have any yield in the future, you might be more curious about what does it take to be a validator. And validator, as far as I understand so far, is a 32 million PLS requirement, which is at SAC rate around $3,200, something like that,
Mhm.
$3,500 if you were SAC rate back a year and a half ago. Who knows what the price will be? Even when people say, the PLS price is going to major dip, or the PHEX price is going to major dip or rip, or the EHEX price, some of those narratives, they're all helpful, especially since you talk about charts and about those trends. But I'll be honest, you looked at Bitcoin as a reference for the whole market.
Yes.
And sooner or later, people are going to look at Ethereum and say, what's the halving event for Ethereum? How come this market cycle is going to play out if there's a flippening and people don't talk about Bitcoin as much, right? Even
Mhm.
at the top of the S curve, there's going to be cycles where it's down and undervalued and versus up and overvalued. It's still going to have some multiple opportunities over a 4-year cycle in Bitcoin, even in an S curve. But is it going to be 50 or 5,000x? No, it's not. Nobody agrees. Even Bitcoin maxis think that 1,000x is possible with Bitcoin. You would just see smaller variations, 6 to 10x per cycle, something like that. So what I'm getting at is when you're looking at the hex chart, now we have this synergistic relationship with the L1 of the same founder launching a different nature product, L1,
Mhm.
and a DEX of PulseX. So these two separate products. And how are they going to play out? Well, I don't think that there's going to be a test net release. Maybe there'll be a test net release without a lot of education materials being put out there by Richard and other trusted developers that make content like Gamma DevOps. And when they make that content and they say, look, this is all it takes. Take an old laptop, load your keys, make sure it's wiped and things like that. Load your keys, and now you can be a validator, generating yield for the cost of basically running a laptop. Not a lot of overhead, not a lot of heat and electricity cost like miners and dedicated miners in Bitcoin or something like that, right? So until you see a lot of that content, I don't think that I don't personally. I'm not betting that there's going to be a mainnet release until more of that material is out there. And really, there's not a lot of that content right now.
Yeah, man, that's spot on. Yeah, I really don't see until we start seeing releasing, like you said, of data or showing us how to be validators. It's probably not that close yet. But I do believe at the end of the day, it is pumping. A lot of the attention, is going to Polygon and other scaling solutions for Ethereum because we already know what's going to happen. Ethereum's going to be absolutely broken when we go into this bull run. It could even I could see us going into like 120, 140 Gwei by midsummer as our lows, So we're going to have a lot of trouble. Right now, PulseChain has the opportunity to it's its own L1. It could be better than Polygon. It could be worth more in market valuation than Polygon because it's L1 and people want to use it. All of the development wants to go somewhere. There's so many projects that are gas thirsty that really need PulseChain, what PulseChain has to offer. You know what I mean? This is a golden opportunity. Imagine PulseChain launches going into the accumulation phase. We just started it. We need it. We need it absolutely as soon as possible to get the most adoption and to build the most hype as soon as possible. I do have a question for you. I was pondering the other day. What do you think the PulseChain market cap is going into the beginning? Because it's a little bit convoluted. We had 800 million in users sacrifice, and then we also had a bunch of hex from the OA. So I think it was at the end of the day, it was 17 point something billion. You're not you don't really think that we're starting off with the $17 billion market cap, do you? Because the Phantom right now, which did 400x, is sitting at 9 billion. Okay, so I would hate to start out with the market cap twice of Phantom for a launch. I mean, that's looking like a 10x at tops. You know what I mean? Because I think about about 100 billion in market valuation at the top of a cycle is my projection for PulseChain. So I think that's a fair one, and I think it's very generous. And that's when I'm going to start taking profits. Until then, I am not. I am going to be a user and influencer for the PulseChain ecosphere. I'm going to be talking about projects and mainly investing on those projects. Probably with 80% of my portfolio, other than my HODL position, is probably going to be in PulseChain related things, and then 20% is going to be in legacy projects, blue chippers on the Ethereum network. Okay, so my question to you is, what's the market cap of PulseChain? What do you think?
So I count on a few things. One is I count, if I were to invest in Apple, I would count on Steve Jobs' narcissism and perfectionism and his broken childhood of being an orphan. Like he'd be like, he wants to over succeed. If I'm going to bet on, and I have bet in the past, but I'm not in it anymore, Oracle, Larry Ellison, another person that is basically over accomplished and over zealot about success and finance and wealth, and he became very successful in technology company of Oracle. I tend to think the same about Richard, even though there's this Gucci purse, Louis Vuitton characteristic. It's still about his sense of self-worth is based on this appreciation thing. And I don't like when I'm betting on a product that he or his team are developing, and his fear narrative of loss, losing of economic value, losing of face, losing of some level of respect between intellects or thought leaders, like that is a driving force for my own risk tolerance in this game of crypto.
So you're betting big. You're betting big on Richard.
I'm betting pretty big on Richard, and I'm betting big on just the idea of horizontally scaling Ethereum, the first mover. Yes. If it is effectively the same code and is effectively another outlet for the same product or service, and it does have a lower cost, it's kind of like trying to defend the mom and pop general store when Walmart's coming around the corner. People are going to move to where the lowest cost transaction is to get the thing that they want. That's where they're going to move. And when Walmart's no longer efficient, people might pay a bit of a premium for a while to be on Amazon until it dominates the market space. And then you can say, well, look, even Walmart wants to be Amazon. They are trying their hardest to be an online site, allowing for businesses to run retail arbitrage, just like Amazon has done for decades. So I am betting partly on Richard's vanity. Yes, I am. Like if he was a milquetoast, kumbaya, get along with everybody personality, like maybe Charles Hoskinson, I'm not betting on Charles. I'm betting on vanity, narcissism, and this idea that he is the best in the space. Whether it's true or not, the market will decide. But
also, the other thing that I want to add to that, because that's a fantastic point, is that also this is E 2.0 sprinkled with Richard Hart's pumpamentals. It's not just the caricature or like of Richard Hart. It's also like just these slight tweaks where we know that it's going to be designed to pump, right? And just taking a look, yesterday on January 29th, BNB chain recorded about 3,007,245 transactions, while Polygon processed 3,066,110. I'm saying this because look at the demand for scaling on Ethereum. People are snapping up Polygon, important projects, like even a former president, the dump NFTs, they're on Polygon. A lot of stuff and energy and innovation is going there because they don't have anywhere else to go, you know? And it's even beating BNB. I'm very bullish on Polygon. I'm planning to add it to my position. In fact, to my hodl, like I'll never sell position. Um, I am planning on that. But really, I think that PulseChain could be more than Polygon. I think that the innovation is going to run there because it's at the absolute very bottom of its S curve. It's brand spanking new. It's just basically Ethereum 2.0 sprinkled with Richard Hart's Pumpamentals. It has a diehard community, you know, of maxis and cultists, you know. So I really see people just kind of like leaving the or not trying to develop on Polygon, but coming to PulseChain. You could see the demand right here. It's surpassing BNB. So yeah, dude, I'm still very bullish on it. I just honestly, it's got to be out as soon as possible. Like as soon as possible. I really believe that.
It's very frustrating, the time delay. And if it's you know, I'm hopeful it's not timing the market. I actually, when you see, like you commented, Bitcoin going to 23 or Ethereum now is down a bit, but it's, you know, maybe 3 weeks ago it was 1200s, and now it's like in the mid 1500s or something like that. So like, I think it's and it's been I think yesterday even it was like 1650 or something. So like it's all over the place on volume and on price. But yeah, I mean, like I think that I've been saying this for many years that the crowd in the Coliseum should be louder and more productive than the gladiator. You know, Richard started this thing 3 years ago, 4 years ago. A small crew basically started streaming about it. And then now it's grown to other influencers and commentators that also talk about other products. And that echoes like enough. I don't think we have to be a maximalist, and I don't think it's even possible to be a maximalist society. You know, we're not all using the same fiat currency. We're not all speaking the same language. We don't all eat the same food. Why would we expect that, you know, being maxi is actually that great? Like, I think that, you know, a financial plan should have a certain percentage on different parts of the risk curve. And if your risk tolerance is you want to play an altcoin season, then you need to place your bets appropriately. If it's more in my age group, it's more about preservation of capital, preservation of purchasing power. These narratives like inflation decay matter to someone in your and my age group, right? If you make 100 grand and now you made $90,000 worth of purchasing power each year, and then the following year it's 85, and the following year it's 75, like that's only really a more mature personality that even recognizes the damage of inflation. And typically the people that recognize it first or do something about it are productive people. They're saying, how can my farm generate more wheat per acre? I want to be more efficient. I guess I need to invest into a better combine or better fertilizers, right? So we make decisions based on efficiency and trying to outpace the decay of inflation. Most of these other things inside of crypto space, especially when there's such a low barrier to entry, yeah, there's some technology you got to take on. You got to understand about hardware and about getting hacked and scammed and all this other kind of crap, which is true. But there's really not that much of a barrier to entry to this, more so than, you know, 12 to 15-year-olds have figured out about the internet for decades. Like, people figure this stuff out. So there's not a government, like, I don't think anybody's doing a like, if you borrow your parents' credit card enough to buy some Ethereum and get started, like, I think it's a very low threshold to get involved with cryptocurrency. So it can have blow off tops because we're still emotional. A majority of the people playing in crypto are gamblers, a majority gamers, and addicted to doing something instead of addicted to sitting and waiting for a swing. Like, it's just part of the thing, you know?
So with that, I'd like to pivot a little bit here. So I am actually building something that's going to go on PulseChain, and no, it's not a coin. It's going to be given to members. And I have a little teaser. I'm going to show you a little bit of what I've been working on. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to divulge because code is hard and nobody understands it. So 2 more weeks. Okay, boys. So here's some of it. It failed to load apparently, so sorry about that. So I guess you can I'll speculate on what the hell that was. But yeah, we're working on NFT sets. There's Pumpamentals. We're working on Wolfpack NFTs, but you're going to be able to do a lot with them. They're not going to be like Donald Dump NFTs, and they're just going to sit there and be corny. They're actually going to be gamified. So it'll be interesting. And of course, you're going to get your. We have to beat PulseChain to market. We're going to beat PulseChain to market because we want the copies over there on PulseChain as well. There is going to be a front end, and I don't want to say too much because I'm going to get in trouble from the dev. But I want it to interact with Hex, and I want it to be beneficial to Hex in some type of way. Still working on the proof of concept for that. That'll be later on. But I definitely want it to be intermingled in this community. It's something else that I can do here. I'm not like a coder or anything, but I wanted to provide some kind of value also, and speculation and hype and interest, and bring people into that. The people that watch me that maybe won't just like my macro content or just my TA, maybe that'll bring awareness to PulseChain, or, bring awareness to Hex, not because I say, hey, you should buy this next gem 100X. I'm not like that, but in a way of like, hey, if you like this thing, it interacts with Hex. Now you're Hexkin. You know what I mean? Like I created the price tracker watch. I did that to give back to the Hex community a little bit. And so I'm kind of doing this mainly for my Wolfpack community, but also I want it to be intertwined and bringing attention to Hex, because I think that's another great way. It's not just creating content, but creating projects that will steer people into Rome. All roads lead to Rome. Out this community is because it's very centered around Hex, and even though we're going to be building projects and doing different stuff even though I'm going to be investing in PulseChain projects and stuff like that, doesn't mean that I hate Hex, so it all should kind of steer and turn towards that. It is the center of the PulseChain community after all, right? So we're getting close to an hour here. What do you recommend people do in 2023? I'm saying accumulate and explore with AI products. You know what I mean? I'm using AI to make this NFT pack. So I'm literally the tip of the spear of innovation in the cryptocurrency space, because I believe AI is going to be as big as Web3. And once you combine the two and they're interoperable, guys, we're going into exciting times. We have already gone through the worst of the bear market. We are going into exciting times as far as technology, cryptocurrency, and overall just general standard of living. I think it's going to be a big innovation. So if you miss .com, if you miss the social media bubble, if you miss the Bitcoin bubble, if you miss the NFT bubble, don't miss the AI bubble. Stay on top of it, and watch this channel, like and subscribe to this channel, and we're going to go on this journey together. We troll, we do charts, and it's all good times. We survived. I believe that we survived the bear market. So I don't know. What do you? We'll wrap it up here, but I just want to know, what do you recommend for people in 2023? What are you doing?
I think someone should actually draw a list of 3 things that they're going to accomplish on that day that is different from the previous day. 3 new things. They can be very simple things. Like if you watch a YouTube video about how to make an image using AI, that's great. You absorbed someone else's productivity. Someone else produced that. Someone else monetized it, and they got influence from it, and they got maybe a subscribership grew because you watched someone else's productivity. And then people feel satisfied, and then they stop consuming, and they should be productive. Like use what you just learned. Almost like going to school. I think this is the best time. It doesn't matter your age group, doesn't matter your cultural background, doesn't matter your expertise or academia. You can be extremely financially successful if you invest some of your time into being productive. And the best tools available now are through the internet and through the software engagement with artificial intelligence, because there's people don't know how to even speak to human beings, much less organized sentence for an AI. Like when you say something like you're going to generate an NFT and you're using AI technology to help you with that, you have to understand some of the parameters that an AI is going to pull from so that you can ask more specifically what you're looking for. And you
Yeah.
can do
Learn
that
how to
as
use it.
do that as a service for other people. Set up your on something like Popple, or there's a lot of different tools where you can just get paid a consulting fee of $50 to do other people's stuff just by organizing a prompt. I even saw a marketplace the other day where people create prompts for like Mid-Journey and things like that, and then they sell the prompt. Like it's crazy, man. You have a lot of opportunities to generate an income that don't have to do with market cycle speculation. And I think people would feel more satisfied if they actually stepped into the realm of being productive.
Yeah, absolutely. Learn the people who adopted email first, like when email first came out, we've all seen the videos from like late night talk shows in the 90s, and people are like, oh, hey, why do I need email? I'll just call somebody, this is dumb. But the people who adopted that technology are the ones that made the money. The people who were standing there and were like, dude, I'm gonna buy anything.com in the 90s. Those people became fabulously rich. You know what I mean? So don't miss the opportunity. I think this is what my personal opinion is from what I'm making an NFT pack with an AI, a gamified one. What I've learned is that when I'm using it, I'm like, this is it. This is like the next thing. It's no doubt in my mind, So yeah, absolutely. Learn how to take advantage of it, how to talk to it, and everything like that. Just jumping in the chat for a little bit. I just want to say hi to some people before we go. Trying to keep it under an hour, but I'm just going to do some shout outs. WW3, shout out to you, bro. He says, great advice from FundingGym. Always, man. Always. He's a wealth of knowledge. Is Celia okay? Shout out to you, 730 bang. Shout out to you, bro. Tech dude, is 11K in price still coming? Of course, it could happen, but remember, we think in probabilities, right? There are no certainties, there are only probabilities. The probability of 11K is much lower. We need a serious black swan event. I don't think it would come soon. I think if the Federal Reserve cranks up rates and holds them high all year, and we do have a really nasty recession and they have to pivot, that, like when they pivot, it's after a big flush in the economy. I think that, yes, maybe in the spring, if we don't get that soft landing, yes, I still think that 11K is possible. But from all the data that I have now, I'm thinking that the probabilities are favored that the bottom is in, but of course it is possible. We will have more data once we see where the swing low is. It's been nothing but a swing high. So yeah, tech dude, 11K is possible. I think it's more probable if we have a hard landing and the Fed has to pivot. But we also know once the Fed pivots, it's moon boy time. It's time to really go. So it's good and bad. So imagine that we get a hard landing, shit dumps to 11K, Hex goes to half a penny, you have some liquid and you jump in, your life is going to change. You're going to be a different person in 2 years because you're going to substantially benefit from that. So either way, look at it this way. You're where you want to be, tech dude, because let's say this is it. This is the bottom and it goes up. Great. You win. You know what I mean? Just start averaging in whatever. Let's say we have a nasty economic crash and the shit does go low. Guess what? You win, just buy some. And that you'll even actually win harder if we do have a hard landing over there at the Federal with the general macro economy. So all you got to do is hang out. They say like, if you stand in front of a barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. Like you hang out in crypto long enough, you stream content long enough, you do your own research and things like that. Eventually you're going to make money, because this thing is cyclical. When I first got in 2017, no matter where I put money, I like 2x, 3x, 10x, and I thought I was a genius. No, it's just a bull market, and those days are ahead. The worst is behind you. Sorry for that rant, but I just wanted to shout out to Tech Dude. I want to shout out to St. Wolf. Julian Fisher. Is RH active in Telegram or Discord right now? You want to take that one, FundingGym? Do you know?
I only really DM with him, and I haven't had a reason to DM with him until PulseChain exists. Like I stopped setting up interviews and things like that with influencers until not even after testnet. Like I want it to exist. I think that the timeline is too long, and I haven't been paying attention to the Hex or the PulseChain Telegram rooms, and I don't think that Discord was ever popular. There's some people that like only Discord, but I don't think we were ever very active in there at all. But yeah, DM wise, I haven't had a need, so I haven't engaged directly with Richard. I just want him focused on delivering the net.
Okay. So shout out Jojo. The Wolfpack Layer 1 is Layer 1 is coming. He thinks that I'm going to like turn into Jack Levin and just be like, just keep patching on to the Wolfpack NFTs, just keep duct taping on tokens, and hopefully one of them stops. Maybe the Wolfpack NFTs will burn Zen. Okay, maybe that's what we need.
Wait until Godwale buys the first one, then you'll be off.
Oh man, dude, what if Godwill buys that like blows my mind right there. And he thinks I'm a vampire. That's funny. Never mind. I'll explain another time. Ask me in the chat what that means. I'm not going to say it on stream. Julian Fisher is RH. Okay, we did that. Tech dude, are you getting his NFT? I am getting his NFT. I want to be part of any L1 that's coming up because my theory is I'm not that tribal. I'm not a maxi. I'm going to just chimp in and hope, because what I've learned is this is a zero-sum game. You have to either be smarter than the algorithms, the bots in the markets and think tanks and trading desks like at Goldman Sachs. You either got to be smarter than them to win in this market, or you have to be first, right? Be smarter or be first. So yes, I'm going to be buying them, but I'm not minting Zen anymore just because honestly, it's kind of pointless at these prices. Like, like the gas is getting expensive and it's just going straight down. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to do like, I don't know. I'm going to get the Zen NFTs to get into that. I've kind of fallen behind of the Zen space. I still like Zen. You know what I mean? I still think Jack's a very interesting guy. You know what I mean? And I'm still going to be a part of that. I just kind of fell off because they've just been spamming out all these different things and I've been super busy. So I will be getting into the L1. It looks promising. I'm not interested in all of the VC investment and things like that. But hey, that's the nature of the space. You know what I mean? Look at Aptos. That's all VC. That's all Silicon Valley. And it just did a 4X this year. So like, I mean, it's not what I want. I wanted first principles, but I'm still going to participate in it. Yes. But if you take a look at the Zen chart, it's just, dude, it's just painful. It's just like, look at this. We're about to make an all-time low here. And we will 100% make an all-time low. So it's like, dude, if this stays down here and ETH is like 150 Gwei in 400 days when I start like minting or claiming, dude, I'm going to be upside down on it. What's the point of doing this shit? Let's hope that some of these things that are duct taped on are going to do that. One thing I will say, I liked how it launched. It was a decentralized launch. I think this could be a model of launching, but there has to be a cap on inflation. So if you mint things out of thin air for free, and then you use those things you minted to get into a L1 that has a cap on supply, that is a wonderful way. I think that is a great innovation for a decentralized launch, which is going to be important in the coming years. So yeah, dude, 100%. I am going to be doing it. I am going to be part of the L1. I am going to be part of that community and stuff like that. I don't want to be in any of the drama. You know what I mean? I'm just doing me. Like I like Hex, I like PulseChain, I like Zen. I'm going to be first. I'm going to be first into any new L1. You better believe it. That is a winning formula. All right. So anyways, I just want to shout out to last when Wolfpack watched her. Dang, should I do it with a Hex tracker? All right. If I have,
you should do it with your NFT tracker.
What's that?
You should. I guess NFTs are non-fungible though, so you can't really have maybe you can have like a weighted average of all the NFTs, like the value of all of your Wolfpack NFTs, something like that.
Yeah, and I wonder if I should give you any more. No, I'm gonna leak little things about the Wolfpack NFTs in each stream just to keep it going. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Just to keep us talking about it, but I do have some more tidbits to add to it.
You should look into, I think Power City is also doing some NFT platform when PulseChain launches. So they're like 5 or 6 different things. It's hard to categorize them as one protocol play. So yeah, I know that they're doing NFT, and they're one of the things that one of the companies they work with is Boxable, which is like these prefab tiny houses. Like Elon Musk lives in one of them at the launch pad for SpaceX. So stuff like that. So you should look into it because again, NFTs aren't going to go away. I think that they got overpriced for sure when they were $1 million picture of a rock, CZ bought and stuff like that. But outside of the wild price of a picture, um, they're not going to go away. People traded comic books forever and bottle caps and you know different colored glass marbles. Like human beings are still going to be collectors of stuff, and NFTs are just a new version of that.
Yeah, and that is a great freaking segue to this is amazing. Okay, so I always say that our first and most our demographic, that's when the bull run starts, or like when people start to wake up and see us pumping, the first people that are going to get into crypto is going to be like the fantasy football type people. They're gamblers, you know, they're probably not too diehard to be inside the crypto space like us, like riding and grinding through the entire crypto winter. They're like, screw that. And they're like doing fantasy football and they're all betting. I have friends, they bet on every play. They bet on what I was going to get for my next drink. And when I went and I grabbed a Bud Light and I sat down and they were cheering and I was like, what's the hell? They're like, oh, we were betting if you were going to get a vodka, or, those guys, that demographic is going to be the first ones to buy. And the things that they like is the things that I consider blue chip. That's a small factor of my calculations of it. You know what I mean? Like there's other things, obviously metrics that I look into it, but that's one big one. And like, they like Doge, they like Sheep, they like Polygon, they like BNB and things like that. Anyways, that was a long-winded segue into, I wanted to show you that there's a Premier League signs a deal with NFT-based fantasy soccer game despite crypto downturn. Now, imagine playing fantasy football, but your players you have to buy, and then you'll have like an NFT of your player. That's freaking amazing. And of course, this is going to be on Polygon. That's what I'm saying, guys. We need PulseChain ASAP so people start building amazing stuff on there, because you can't build this NFT, huge, heavy NFT, gas thirsty platform that normies are going to love, and it's going to onboard normies into the ecosystem. You can't build this shit on ETH. So like literally, if there was a L1 PulseChain, things like this where normies are going to be onboarded into crypto, and then bam, well, build that on PulseChain. It's really cheap to transact on PulseChain, and then guess what? PulseChain, everything there, all roads lead to Rome, and Rome is Hex. You know what I mean? So like that is why I believe we need this thing ASAP, because Polygon is stealing the thunder, which of course I will be buying Polygon. So
let's talk off camera. I've got some really good ideas, and also I built some software in the past that I think could really turbocharge some of your NFT ideas. We'll talk about it.
Okay, guys. Well, I was supposed to keep it under an hour. It's for the algorithm, but I don't want to go. I think we could do like a 5-hour live stream. I love all you guys, man. I will see you soon. I do have some updates about the channel, but we'll talk about that in the Telegram chat. If you want to be part of the Wolf Pack, come to my Telegram chat. I don't post it anywhere anymore because I'm getting too much bot attacks. So DM me on Twitter at C150Traffic in the description. DM me on Twitter, and I'll send you a link, and you can be part of our community. Okay. And FundingGym, where can people find you, and do your little shilling bit?
Yeah, I'm going to start making more content on my FundingGym channel about startups, getting capital for being productive, not just speculating. Like I don't really like funding people that go to casinos and put it all on black or red. Like I feel like they're just going to set themselves up bad. And similarly, like I know people are going to use it for cryptocurrency speculation and things like that, but in general, I have to, like I have a certain threshold of what I want to take on as a client. But anyways, FundingGym is going to still be supportive, always supportive of Hex. I love the product. I love the community. Nothing different about that. I will start helping people launch their own, at least get the capital, launch their own businesses too. On my other channel, which is basically just a platform to engage. It's not monetized. There's no compensation. There's no bias. I try to be unbiased. about hosting developers and founders Wednesdays and Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA time zone. That's about an hour, maybe sometimes it goes an hour and a half, Twitter space. And if you are going to speculate on anything that may be launched on PulseChain, or you hear that somebody is launching something on PulseChain, encourage them to come to those spaces, because first it's voice chatted, but then their Twitter handles are highlighted on the YouTube repost. So I repost and highlight whoever was a speaker and things like that, their content, so that their brand can become popular, right? And then from that, that's usually, like I said, the same hour, hour and a half unedited. Then I put through some AI algorithms to dice that down into shorts or reels or things for other shorter attention span and little soundbite content. And that's been getting some really great play recently. So I think that that's useful. And what I'm saying is I'm volunteering to highlight other projects and projects that have founders and developers that engage their community on that platform of PulseChain media. So follow that or point people toward that. And I'll try and be as unbiased as I can be as an OG Hexagon guy.
Okay. Yeah. So follow PulseChain Media and follow at FundingGym. Join the Wolf Pack, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace. Hold on a second.